We're Storable, and our charge is to solve self-storage operators' challenges, help them dominate their day-to-day, and drive industry-wide innovation. Translation? We're on a never-ending mission to empower you to do more than you ever thought possible. But do more of what? More automating, more marketing, more leasing, more protecting, more earning, more of what you need to top out your bottom line, and less business as usual. How do we do it? With a powerful platform of technology. Starting with industry-leading facility management software that fully integrates with our online marketplace, facility websites, tenant insurance, and payment processing. Each is best in class on its own, but when they're integrated together, you'll experience untold levels of operational efficiency and an unmatched competitive advantage. Ultimately, the Storable platform helps you harness your data, get paid faster, access powerful analytics, and convert more leads. All while creating a 5-star tenant experience. It's the only all-in-one solution that goes all in on maxing out your occupancy and unlocking your operation's true potential. Why do we do it? Simple. We realized that technology and self-storage was too fragmented, leaving operators with complicated, time-consuming tasks and missed revenue opportunities. We knew an all-in-one solution would deliver operators more control over their business. More control means more revenue and more time back in your day to do more of what you need to do. We're Storable, home of the industry's most powerful technology, and we want to help you take your business to the next level. Let's do more together.
Are you a self-storage owner or operator looking for service providers to help at your facility? Well, the Storage Business Owners Alliance, also known as the SBOA, has you covered. The SBOA is a premier online hub for connecting self-storage owners and operators to industry-leading products and service providers. We provide one-stop shopping for your business with exclusive offers to save time and money. At the SBOA, we believe by coming together, we help owners and operators grow revenue, gain purchasing power, reduce expenses, improve efficiencies, and increase profitability. We also offer many resources such as our conferences and self-storage unlock webinars to help self-storage owners and operators gain the knowledge needed to become more competitive in the industry. To become an SBOA member or to find out more information, please visit www.thesboa.com today. We can't wait for you to join the Alliance.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today, wherever you are tuning in from. A big warm welcome to the SBOA Self-Storage Unlocked. I'm Iris Segan, the Marketing Manager for the Storage Business Owners Alliance, also known as the SBOA. Jessica Johnson is currently at the Missouri Self-Storage Owners Association annual conference, so I will be hosting you today. And our topic is maximizing operational efficiencies. And we have a great lineup of presentations for you today, or presenters, I should say, featuring real rock stars in the self-storage industry. They are all geared up to share great information for you, all about maximizing your efficiency for operations and keeping things running smoothly and cost efficiently. But before we dive in, I'll just run over a couple of housekeeping points for you. Make sure everybody's up and ready to go. I can see we've got a few people already active in the chat. Please let us know who you are, where you're from. And if you have any questions throughout the next hour, that is the place to put those questions in the chat, and we will do our best to get them answered for you live. If for some reason we can't answer them, please still put your questions in. If we're towards the end of our time, we're still going to do our best to get back to you. We'll email you your answers, but we always like to get as much interaction with our audience as possible. And so without further ado, I'm going to bring up our moderator for today, Holly Fiorello. Hi, Holly. Holly, you're on mute.
You know, I'm either on mute or muted when I try to unmute. So hi.
How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Oh, well, thank you for coming and guest moderating. Can you give the audience an idea of who you are, what your background is in self-storage?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, my name's Holly. I am the Senior Director of Demand Generation at Storable. My background in self-storage, I started a dozen years ago in the technology and marketing sector, specifically for self-storage. Worked with Call Potential the last 8 years, and with the acquisition of Storable, have rolled into that position. Primarily technology, automation, self-storage, marketing, all of that's been my area of focus.
So you are well-versed in getting things running efficiently for self-storage owners.
I'll try.
All right, Holly, I am going to back out and I'm going to let you introduce everyone. Once you say their name, I'll bring them up.
All right, great. To start, I would like to introduce Phil Murphy with Next Door Self Storage. Hey, Phil.
Hey, Holly, how you doing?
Good. How are you? Same old same. Would you mind giving the audience a quick intro on your background in self-storage?
Sure. My name is Phil Murphy. I own and operate 20 stores under the Next Door Storage brand. I originally had founded a company called Potential as well, which, as Holly had mentioned, merged into, became a part of Storable. And since then have left and concentrating more on the storage side as I continue to grow my storage portfolio.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for building Call Potential. Next, I'd like to bring up Cindy Ashby. Hi, Cindy.
Hi.
Thank you for making the time to join us today. I know you've been all over in the self-storage industry at different associations. Would you mind giving a brief overview of your background in self-storage?
So, as you said, Cindy Ashby, I have dynamic self-storage solutions, remote management solutions, and remote contact solutions. And I have been actively involved in the industry for almost 30 years now. Done everything from managing as a property manager to a COO, and now we have a little over 23 properties that we remotely manage for others. So
Wow.
It's been exciting.
Yeah, you've seen all kinds of changes in the industry. Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. Next, we have Melissa Stiles with Storage Asset Management. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Holly. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Thank you for joining us. Would you mind giving your overview of how you got involved in self-storage and about SAM?
Sure. Yeah, I've been with Storage Asset Management for a little over 10 years now. I am the Chief Marketing Officer, and I oversee the marketing, business development, transitions, and communications departments. SAM is a third-party management company. We operate about 580 in 37 states.
Awesome. That is a big number. Thank you for joining us. Perfect. All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. We're going to talk about maximizing operational efficiencies, and we'll delve into a range of innovative strategies and best practices. Just kind of kick us off, could you each briefly describe what operational efficiency is in self-storage and what it looks like at your company?
I can jump into that.
Perfect.
So whether it has, well, it's been actually with probably the last 3 years, but today's focus with RMS is to make sure that when we're looking at operational efficiencies, it's not just boosting the NOI or saving time. It's extremely important for us to make sure that it is providing a seamless experience for both the customers as well as the staff, and then our owners also. So we measure that through several different metrics, obviously rentals, so occupancy rates, revenue per square foot, as well as the expenses, and then productivity, and of course, customer satisfaction. So it all has to work together. Just because we can save a nickel or save a minute doesn't mean that it's going to end up being profitable for us reputation wise or cost wise.
That was a good point to kind of point out the different stakeholders and what operational efficiency looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Phil, Melissa?
Yeah, I guess I'd say one of the biggest things that we're really focusing on is, as Cindy said, it's a lot of different things. One is the rental process. How quickly can we get somebody in? But then also how much can we really move that off of our personnel? You know, too often we're having people sitting there at the store having to answer calls or having to do rentals or various things like that. And you've seen over the years kind of moving more and more towards technology, and the more people we can move into that virtual aspect of not having to be in the store when they rent, whether it's renting over the phone or renting at the website or renting through some other source, and then having that integrated into our sales process, because a lot of times our sales process, our website hasn't always reflected our sales process. And right now, the next year, we're completely rebuilding our site in order to better reflect what we're trying to do and what we're seeing in the industry.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't have very much to add on to what Phil and Cindy said, but I think a lot of it is putting in pieces that automate processes, that could have took, months or weeks or whatever before can now take hours, right? From reporting and data usage, and then utilizing AI as well. But to Cindy's point, I think, they're different metrics, but when I think about it, Cindy mentioned rentals and the customer experience and those kind of things, that does all lead into your NOI. So I think increasing your NOI and what you're doing is really important too as a way to measure it.
Is it something you're focusing more on now that in the past you might not have? Is there any market forces that are leaning you to focus on those areas?
Well, our biggest thing right now is there's just with the reaction of the REITs with the pricing approaches, and a lot of the REITs are really coming in trying to kind of buy occupancy, and so it's in those markets where we're not competing with them, it isn't as upfront for us. However, in those top 50 MSAs where we're having to really make sure we're setting our pricing, our specials, and our sales process and everything in line so that we can distinguish. It's not just, hey, here's a 10 by 10, it's $100. We're having to make sure, and it's, dealing with that competitive force where they're setting it at 75, but then they're upselling through the rental process to get them back to the $100, or the revenue managing up to that whatever normalcy is in that market. And that's where we're really using technology to try and drive that back up, because consumers are getting too caught up. Well, not too caught up. They're getting caught on the initial dollar that's shown to them, not necessarily their final payout amount, which can be very deceiving to a lot of customers.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just to add on to that, I think, a lot of the force behind why, automation and these kind of topics are are so prevalent right now is the competition, but it's also the consumer has a lot more information than ever before. They have ways to do a lot of research, whatever avenue they want before they choose a facility, and they didn't have that access to the information and the ability to demand and go somewhere else for that experience if they don't get it at the first facility.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. And I think one of the things that we've had to focus on significantly is, okay, there's a race to the bottom. I will share a positive for all of the self-storage owners out there today. We raised rates in one location about a week ago, and our owner happened to catch the fact that, wow, we're significantly less than anyone else. But a week ago, we were 20% higher than anyone. So just yesterday, others caught the fact that we're bumping rates in anticipation of the season again, and now they're leaping ahead. So it's really encouraging to see some leapfrogging going on in rates. And I will also add to that if there is an efficiency that we've got to get better at, it is in that revenue management, because it's just been all over the board. You no longer can go in and just set it and forget it. You have got to be on top of it. And unfortunately, some of our box products, like Veritech, ProRise, they have not been working as well as the rates were going down. So there's some encouragement in that's going to help us on the uptick. But yeah, revenue management is an efficiency that we're still wrestling with, for sure.
Yeah, and it's a constant, I mean, day to day, obviously there are those that are being even more dynamic than day to day, but if you're not paying attention to it, you can be priced out of the market and not realize it until all of a sudden you notice you haven't rented a unit in a week. And that's just, without technology and automation in there, it is an almost insurmountable task to keep up with that, especially at scale.
It is for sure. But we're also seeing one other thing, because there are so many that are operating remotely. And we've noticed through, whether it was the demand study or listening to everybody else at some of these associations throughout the country, that curb appeal is still critical. And one of the efficiencies that we have come up with is we utilize tablets with all of our maintenance team out in the field. So we're getting pictures. We're doing live walkthroughs of the facilities on a regular basis, sometimes even, twice a week, just because we want to make sure that everything's popping. I mean, when you had a manager in the store, let's face it, what did they have to do? They had to stand up. They had to greet that customer, right? And you pretty much hope they were clean when they did all that. And so now the facility has to stand up and greet that customer on its own. And so your signage has to be perfect. The landscaping, you have got to pay attention to that. And the tablets have helped with that significantly.
I love that. How did you get started with remote property management, Cindy?
So believe it or not, it was back in 2016, and a longtime industry expert, Linnea Appleby out of Florida, she and I were chasing waterfalls in North Carolina, and we happened to look at some of the small facilities. We said, there's got to be a way that we can do this without having to have someone on site. And so I don't know, Melissa, Phil, you may remember back in the day when we had beam security on RV lots, and, it would put in your code and it'd shunt the beam so you could get in. I'm like, how could we use some reverse technology with that so that it would notify us when they're there? Fast forward, we weren't smart enough to figure it all out. However, in a little place in Banner Elk, North Carolina. We had 2 locations across town, and one, the manager just disappeared, like sometimes they do. And the only thing I knew to do was to take the monitor, turn it around with the webcam on it, put a note saying, when you come in, press the enter button, and the manager at the other store would talk to him. That's literally how we got started. And then from there, it was add an annex and how do you work it? So literally, it was somewhat by imagination and necessity.
It's creative.
Both of those, I think, are the mothers of invention, really.
I got a problem, I got a solution. Phil, you have some properties that run in a different hybrid model, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've really kind of made, we've been doing for years, kind of adjusting what and how we're doing. And it just really depends on the hours and the days. So, certain properties, they need to be open all the time, normal business hours, 7 days a week. And then other properties that really didn't make a lot of sense. And so, when within Call Potential, we had really analyzed a lot of, especially the phone traffic, and found that, a lot of those calls that were coming in were kind of in those hour before and hour after. And so we really started looking at it, not just those, but also really across the days to go, well, what days does it make sense to have it open? And if it doesn't make sense to have it open on a Monday, move that call traffic or move that rental traffic to another site. And so started really playing with hours, playing with days, figuring out, we didn't want to go all the way to remote because we felt that the customer centric aspect of that was important to the way we wanted to operate. However, it wasn't something where we had to be front and center and present at all times to make that work.
Melissa, how are your remote properties different than your traditional properties?
Yeah, I think in general, so we started a lot like what Phil and Cindy are talking about, where we had like what we call hub and spoke, right? Where we had a centralized office with annexes across it. And we had the technology for online rentals and all of that. But when COVID hit, you realized that you could run some of those remotely, right? You could use, I know there are some that use even the simplest Ring doorbells, right? So when someone come up, they could talk to them on the Ring doorbells, and that technology has quickly evolved. But I think the biggest thing is that we've always centralized a lot of our support. So like the revenue management, the marketing, the accounting, that's always been centralized. But when you look at remote, that's now centralizing the operations as well. So it's not very much different than how we're operating our traditional ones, other than operations are now centralized in one place as well, and being able to focus on stores in that manner rather than on boots on the ground.
Yeah, and it's amazing because the first thing everybody always centralized was accounting, and that was always for years what you mostly did. And the more and more that you're seeing being pulled in, and reading an article, some of the REITs have centralized their auction processes, and going out there rather than having store managers do that, or just even district managers doing it. They've got one central group that knows the operating state's laws that they're in and is checking everything. And you're seeing more and more of that store level work, making it into a way that prevents, for Sam, they don't have to train 500 store managers. They've got 10 that really know the ins and outs, or whatever it is. And that helps eliminate risk and at the same time get efficiencies.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. And to that, I remember, again, I think this was back in 2015 with that whole centralization theme. We had an internal call center, and they were there almost all night. So they also handled emergency, and they were watching the cameras. And we were having issues with managers not getting the pre-liens out, not getting the right notices on the right dates. So we centralized that as well. We just brought all the letters. They're not answering a whole lot of calls at night. So let's bring this back here and have the contact center send out all the notices. So I think that's important, Melissa.
As the market's evolving, from your perspective, what are the emerging trends that will shape the future of the industry? And how are you preparing your business to adapt to these changes?
Nothing's going to change. It's all staying just as it is.
Ooh.
I think in general, just as consumers are getting smarter and they want that better experience, we're getting smarter too, and being able to, flag underperforming stores quicker, so we don't fall behind and being more proactive and predictive. We're doing a lot right now as far as looking at predictive analytics and understanding, if search interest on Google is at this, where should I lead volume be? And getting ahead of that instead of always looking behind that as well. So I think that's, or remote management is not going anywhere. I think there's still, even if, to Phil's point, there are some stores that require a manager, and that's going to always stay. But I think there's also stores that run great remotely as well. So I think the decentralization, centralization piece is going to have to marry together a lot seamlessly, especially if you're at a company who operates both and trying to ensure that all of your processes are the same, whether they're centralized or decentralized. So there's a couple things there, being proactive, the predictive piece, and just getting smarter as an industry as whole. When we look at like the hotel industry and those kind of things, they've had that revenue management piece down for a while. And I think we're starting to get there. But then also the seamless of being able to look at each property and decide how to manage it and just marry that decentralization and centralization together.
So 2 questions. What are you predicting right now with technology, and what do you wish that you could?
Well, I think the easy prediction is one that's already started down the process, which is you hear a lot of it. You see at the shows when they run the AI side of it. You're seeing chat. Swivel has done a good job with what they're doing, and you're seeing progression in there, and you're seeing others kind of coming in as well. I know when I was still at Call Potential, one of the big things we were working on was a voice agent side of it. It's still it's actually live at my stores and doing what it's doing there. But there's still a lot of progression to be done. And I think you're going to see a lot of growth, and it might not be this year, it might be the next year, it might be whatever it is, but we're going to see more and more. Like right now, from an AI standpoint, if you call into one of my stores after hours, we've replaced our voicemail with it. But you'll end up, because it was a low cost. It was, hey, if they were going to leave a voicemail, have them talk to the AI, maybe they'll get help. And it's simple questions, hours, and pricing and things like that. But it's when you get to the more complex things that are starting to bite off more and more. I think you're going to eventually get to a point where those AI agents will be able to help, whether it's an after hours or an overflow or something like that, to a significant degree.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, sorry, Cindy. But to Phil's point, like we're already seeing that now. And every month I take the mismatch intents from our chatbot, from our reviews, from the messages we get on social, and from the phone portal as well. And we're feeding that back in to be able to answer that and create those intents and create those answers. So I think that's going to just evolve, like Phil said as well, especially as we start to get more data on it.
Yeah, definitely watching the immersion of AI and how well everybody seems to be adapting to it and accepting it. That's encouraging. But I think we're going to see a little bit more of that with the video presence. So through virtual management, you can still have somebody there, but they're not really there, kind of thing. But then also, I really see it overlapping into security. The cameras out there right now, I think they're a little bit too expensive to put AI on all the cameras. But when you've got it at the gate, when you've got it at your office, if it's manned, or if you're running with just some sort of a cubicle that allows for them to access a computer or stand out of the weather and rent their unit, I think we're going to see more and more of that in the security piece.
Did you see it?
And Cindy, you're seeing a lot of that. I mean, in other non-storage applications. I mean, you're seeing in schools and things like that, where cameras recognizing dangerous weapons or things like that coming in. Obviously, that specific use isn't as needed in storage, but there are things where we can recognize people coming in, or facial recognition after hours, or things like that. I think those are some great things that could happen in the future, because one of the things, we've had properties that have break-in problems at times and it's knowing when is somebody supposed to be there versus when they're not, versus alerting the right person. I know there's some basic aspects of alerting, but it still always tends to require a human to come in, and hopefully kind of removing that human from the loop, out there. And I know there's companies trying to tackle it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, to your point, my grandson right now is over in South Korea, and he shared that he was walking down a couple of dark alleys very late at night. And I said, "Did you feel safe?" And he said, "Oh, you can't go anywhere in this country without cameras. They're all over the place." So and then he starts to share how it has reduced gang activities and the crime rate came down. And I'm still old school enough, still a boomer. I'm going, isn't that a little Big Brother-ish? Do we really want cameras everywhere? And I think we've got to be careful to respect our tenants' privacy at the same time that we work to protect them and the facilities. So, yeah, it's a balance.
Did you see that Zuckerberg announced this year that Meta is going to spend $35 to $45 billion on AI just this year in research? I can't even get my mind around it.
It's all to make him look more human.
Touche.
Start buying your storage facilities in the metaverse now, so you can be
There you go. You can store all you want in them.
Yeah. Interesting.
Okay, let's go back to customer experience while we're talking about operational efficiencies. What are you doing to retain and attract new business? And what innovative strategies have you found to be the most effective for enhancing customer experience?
Yeah, I think first is meeting the customer on the channel they come from. So more and more are coming, from, we're on more platforms, right? We're on TikTok, we're on Google, obviously, Facebook, Instagram. So being able to, if we're on those platforms, being able to engage on those platforms and answer the questions is most important. So if they're coming to you from Instagram, don't direct them to a phone number, right? They want to chat with you on Instagram and get all the information you need. So as far as attracting customers, making sure that if you are on those channels, you're answering and have an ability to stay on those channels for them. And I think the other thing too is, I was just thinking about this when Cindy mentioned protecting the customer's privacy as well as what they want, is surveying the customers. What made them choose your facility? What else would they like to see? If you implemented a new technology, do they like it? If you're implementing motion sensors that they could purchase for their units, do they find value in it? So really getting that first hand data from your customers is really important as well, to be able to improve and attract more and retain.
Go ahead, Cindy.
I was just going to say exactly what she said. However, when you're looking at your existing customers and how do you retain, it's that balance act again, because we know we don't want to poke them too many times because we don't want to remind them their stuff's there. But at the same time, we all know how important it is to at least reach out and wish them a happy birthday or happy anniversary or something to that effect. And even on a local basis. So I frequent a business and was about ready to leave, and it changed hands. So there's a new owner there, and I posted a Google review with some pictures and said, it's not all the time that there's a change in ownership that is as positive as this was, and how the staff is now better trained. The hours make it easier for me as the consumer, and that I was ready to leave, but now I can only encourage others to come and be a part of this. So all I did was drop the review. A week later, I had a handwritten note from the owner.
Oh, wow.
Mailed to me. And I thought, who does that today? Mm-hmm. Who sends the handwritten note? And I'm not saying we could do that, but I don't think that we should lose completely the touches that we have by having a manager on site. If the store's in Florida and the manager's in Michigan, we can still reach out and touch them and let them know we appreciate them. So, yeah.
And I think that's a good point with what Cindy's saying there, because so often we kind of get lost in the hey, what do I do next? What do I do new? And really, I mean, all the little things are nice, kind of incremental increases, but all those core, like the Google reviews and responding to those, if you haven't gone through your website rental process, if you haven't updated that, if you haven't taken care of all of the base, all the other stuff doesn't matter, because that is so core to where you're at. It's kind of like, hey, this might get you the extra 2 or 3%, but if you're not paying attention to the other 80 or 90%, you're just hoping and praying they come in and stick around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's back to basics sometimes.
There you go.
And just showing care too, right? In general, the customer, they're trusting you with their belongings, whether it's a remote site or if it's a one in person. So knowing that they care makes them feel safer for having their belongings there too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I always say that and I know many people, when it comes to somebody making a decision, they're making the decision based off of trusting you that when whatever condition they put their stuff in is going to be the same condition when it comes out. Everything else is secondary to supporting that trust. And so you've got to be able to communicate that trust.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, who cares if you're the lowest price? Who cares, all the other things, if you got a new website or all that, if they don't feel they're going to trust the outcome of their stuff.
Right. And to Cindy's point, right, that's where reviews come in, because that's what the consumer is going to see before they even visit your website. To be able to have that chance to go in the lead funnel is they're going to read what people have said about you. So it's really important to turn your customers into influencers, right? Even in that small realm of being able to do word of mouth via reviews now.
Mm-hmm.
And the hard thing we don't always do well as owner or operators is pretend to be the customer. Mm-hmm. It's going out, like every once in a while we're reminded, okay, I've driven past this facility 1,000 times and I completely didn't notice the plants are overgrown and that it's not painted and everything else. Well, every interaction, whether it's the phone interaction, the web interaction, the Sparefoot or anything, what does your presence look like? The pictures you've got on Sparefoot, they look like that. They need to be replaced.
They have mountains in Illinois.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, and one of the things I love about this industry is that we are like family. Yes, we compete, but we share. And there are many times, and Melissa Lynn can tell you, I'm out there in the market and I see a Sam, I shop it. I'm not even necessarily shopping it just because I'm curious about what the rate is or anything else. I'll go through with the experience and I'll just shoot her a text. Hey, this manager's doing everything right. This property looks good. Or I'm not so sure about this one, and we have to, as an industry, if there's other owners out there listening, take a minute and connect, because we're all willing to share some of our best practices and things that we've learned that work, and some of them don't work so well. And I've had a few of those as well, but it's good to know that others are looking out for us.
Yeah, agree.
Hey, I just wanted to pop in real quick and let the audience know, if you didn't see it on the ticker down below, put your questions in the chat, please. We want to hear from you. We're offering a gift card to Starbucks. So everyone who adds their question into the chat, we're going to have a little drawing at the end and see who wins. So the more questions you ask, the better chances you have of winning that card. We want to hear from you guys.
Does my question count?
No.
I do. I could kind of use some of that Starbucks right now.
It might have to at the rate we're going. We'll
There
see.
you go.
Okay.
Melissa, we were sharing a little bit about the customer experience, and to Phil's point, making sure that we're touching that and walking it as a customer. But one of the things when we had all managed facilities and we used to, you had to have your quarterly audits or your monthly walkthroughs, et cetera. And there was really no benefit in having a district manager write up a bad audit for a facility. It just looks, who does it look bad on, right? It was them.
Mhm.
But I would have DMs from other markets crossover, and then have people from corporate. Many of them didn't like me for this, but you will go out, you will mystery shop 2 stores per quarter. And this is when we had a lot of them, 2 stores per quarter. And at least twice a year, you will work a store. And I don't care if you're in HR or accounting, because we can't lose focus of what it's like to be on that front line. Sometimes people think it's those in the ivory towers that are making the decisions, and they don't realize the impact that has on your facility manager or on your customer. And so I think it's important to keep everybody in that corporate arena very well versed and experienced in what happens as a customer and a manager.
Yeah, that's a really great point.
I agree. And not only as a customer, but if you when you go out and you're talking to the staff on site as well, when you talk to them and you're there, our executive team goes out, each of us goes out at least once a month on average and talks to them. And, Alyssa's favorite question is to ask, if you owned this property and money was not an issue, what's the first thing that you would do? And the answers are surprising, right? And a lot of things are things that we can quickly fix. And then improve, the customer experience then as well, because they know the customer the best. So not only concentrating on the customer experience, but the employee experience, because they're the ones boots on the ground that quite understand, even if it's your maintenance tech as well, just asking those questions.
Yeah, because they know a lot more than we do. They really do.
Yeah.
We get to hear from the customers every day. They know what's happening and what isn't. And don't forget that maintenance person, whether it's at a remote property and he's 1099. I will never, ever forget an experience with Dean Jernigan in an elevator. And pretty much everybody was intimidated by Dean for various and sundry reasons. And all of those reasons were valid for sure. But I remember being in an elevator with him, and he said hello to a gal that was with us. And she said hello. And he asked, "What do you do?" And her response was, I'm just an assistant manager. He literally stopped the elevator and looked at her. I mean, he hit the stop and goes, "You are not just anything. You are a part of this team. You are as important as any one of us is in here." And we have to remind the maintenance people, the 1099, everyone, that you are a part of this team. Nobody is just anything. My little toe may be very small, but without it, I'm off balance.
I love the way that you look at that. All right, to round us out here, to finish us up, since it doesn't look like we have any questions coming in yet, what is the most valuable lesson you've learned about operational efficiency in the self-storage industry? And what advice would you give to new operators looking to improve?
Most valuable. I think we touched on it with your very first question for me, which was the thing that was the most important for me to learn was it wasn't just about what the price is of what I'm implementing or what step I can remove that will save time, but learning to look at the overall impact, to do a full 360 on it. How does it impact my customer? How does it impact perhaps my vendor? How does it impact the community? And then my bottom line, obviously, as well. But that there's more to it. Whatever I'm implementing, don't just do it because it's trendy. Don't just do it because it works in Miami and you're in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It may not work there. So consider everything.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me around efficiencies, is a little bit what I talked about a second ago. Is just as great as it is coming to these kind of talks and hearing the new and kind of things that are out there. It is truly, especially for a lot of the people that watch webinars, such as this, it's concentrating on those core things. It's, don't get lost in the latest, greatest, shiny gadget. Concentrate on what really brought you to the table, because chances are you're not doing something completely right or to the fullest that you could be doing there. And you're probably leaving more on the table for that small effort that would take to fix that than you would be trying to implement some entirely new process or approach or technology that's out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a couple of things here, right? Like to Phil's point, look at what takes the most time and how can you automate it, right? That's the piece. And if it's something that takes the most time, due to other reasons, then maybe you don't automate it. But what is taking the most of your time and how can you become more efficient in that is how I would frame and learn from there. But I think the other point too, and I think Cindy's mentioned this a few times, is just ask the question to other operators. So if you have that pain point that you can't solve, just ask that question to your peers. And instead of you going down a rabbit hole, you might get an answer much quicker. And then to Phil's point, you're saving time as well.
Absolutely. And that kind of goes all the way back, Melissa, to customer satisfaction. I'll never forget, and this is going back a while, but it was satisfaction guaranteed used to be the big thing with Storage USA. And if you were unhappy, we'll give you up to 1 month free. But it was training to that. So to Phil's point, find something easy and don't overthink it. So if a customer comes in and they're unhappy because their gate code isn't working or the light bulb is burned out in their unit, let's not throw a free month's rent at that. Fix it. Replace the bulb, find out why the gate code isn't working. It can be very, very simple. And we're trying to pay them off and they just want the light bulb replaced.
Yeah, that's a good point. Does have to be the solution for every issue.
Yeah, when you ask them, what is it going to take to make this right for you? Fix it.
Absolutely. And before we have Iris close us out, what are the next shows you guys are attending, or how do you want people to reach out to you if they want to ask any more information?
They can reach out to me through TikTok.
Go to your TikTok channel now.
Yeah, I got this dance that I've been working on. It should be pretty good. But no, they can always reach out to me through Phil@nextdoorselfstorage.com. And then otherwise, I'll be at the May show in Raleigh-Durham for North Carolina.
Yeah, the next show I'll be at is the PA seminar in May in York, Pennsylvania. You can reach out to me. You can find me on LinkedIn. You could really find me on TikTok if you wanted to, but I don't do any dances like Phil. But mstyles@storageasset.com if you want to email.
There you go. I will be with Phil in Raleigh for the May 6th North Carolina Association seminar. And you can always find me literally through our website at remotemagementsolutions.com and click and book some time to talk and see what we can do to help you find solutions to your problems.
Awesome. And Holly, will you be at North Carolina or even at the Mountain West Conference?
I will be with Melissa at the PASA seminar on the 7th and 8th.
You joined us.
Look who's here.
Starbucks gift card.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Did Phil win? Did he win the gift card?
Yeah. It's the gift card.
We owe Phil some Starbucks because we had a big audience today.
I asked the question. So.
He did. No one did answer what their favorite pizza topping is. Mine's pineapple, but
There you go.
Ooh, pineapple's a good one.
Pineapple, that's not a topping.
Yes,
Mine's jalapenos, so there you go.
Ooh.
I don't care what else is on it, just throw some jalapenos on it and I'll be happy.
Yeah, any vegetables.
All right, what did I miss? What did we learn today?
Well, there'll be a recording you can catch up on. We were just closing out, but these experts have great tips on maximizing their operational efficiencies and improving customer service and all that.
Does everyone think that's really critical right now with occupancy rates dropping and vacancies occurring?
No.
I don't think we talked about that.
Yeah, we covered that stuff, right?
Oh, did we? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe early on. I don't know. Our rates are going up and we're having to push some rates in certain markets just to create vacancy. So
Wow.
That's good.
starting to see some good indicators out there, which is refreshing after the last few months.
Yeah, I mean, Cindy, you and I were just in Ohio. I mean, it wasn't doom and gloom reporting. It's like kind of just stable reporting, right? We're kind of just like even right now. But deals are still being done. Marcus and Millichap, Nathan Coe presented, said he thinks they're going to sell more deals this year than they did last year. So that's a good sign. And then they're anticipating that 2025 is going to be an even better year. So just stay in there, guys, whoever's listening.
There you go. There you go. I think that it was back in 2010, maybe 2011, that we literally coined the phrase flat is the new up. And I'll take flat for a little bit for sure.
Sure, totally.
Flat beats down any day. I did want to let the audience know that I put in the chat the link. Storable has a new ebook and it's free. It's called A Guide to Mastering Efficiency and Dominating Your Self-Storage Market. So the link is in the chat. You can go download that today and get more information.
Thank you, Iris.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks. How's it going in Missouri, Jess?
It's just kicking off in Missouri. They've got a good crowd here. The most vendors that I've ever seen at a Missouri show, probably the most participation. I'd even say the same thing with, Ohio, where we were just at, Cindy. So I think that's a good indicator that there's still, and I know this to be an indicator because I talked to many owners and operators that were coming through. There's still interest. People think that maybe the interest is gone because it's starting to soften and flatten out, but it's not. I mean, I talked to many people that I'm looking to get in still, or I just got in, I only have one. So I think that that's a good indicator. And every time I go to these shows, the attendees, it's increasing. So I can definitely tell that people, I think, are more aware that they need the support and education that these shows and expos provide for us throughout the industry. So I think that that's really a good sign as well that, people know that, we're going to do a seminar. Holly's with me in Florida. Our next Lunch and Learn, one of the main topics about that the panel is going to talk about is just, maybe kind of getting back to some of the basic fundamentals of how we do this. I think those have kind of fallen to the wayside through the COVID period. And I think that's why we're seeing people coming back because they want to learn.
Iris.
Phil is disappearing off the screen.
Was he? Where are you going, Phil? Am I scaring you?
And we did actually talk about getting back to basics. So that was pretty good.
Do you not like basics, Phil? Are you bougie? It can't be basic.
No, I was just joking.
Yeah.
Is he just kind of
Going to get a
slowly
pizza.
fades out of the screen?
I think there's validity there. That some stuff not too basic, right? You got a lot of artificial intelligence and stuff coming into the industry, so we're definitely taking that level of basicness out of it for people that want to be a little bit more sophisticated. So.
Agreed. Well, thank you guys for providing this platform. It's exciting.
Thank you all for coming today. We really appreciate your time and all of your wealth of information.
Thanks for having us on.
Yes. Thanks, everyone.
See you in a couple weeks, Phil.
See you
Bye,
soon.
everyone. Have a good afternoon.
Do you have any further announcements today, Jessica?
Oh, let me think. What can I pull out of the announcements?
We have North Carolina show coming up May 6th.
Yeah, the North Carolina seminar will be May 6th. Mountain West is next week for anyone out in the West Coast. I think it's like Nevada. A couple different states are coming together. I'm not sure all of the states. Utah, Oregon, I believe. But Mountain West is next week in Reno, Nevada. The week after that, the SBOA, will be at the Northeastern show, the NESA show. I believe that one's in Massachusetts. Don't quote me, though, but all the information's either in the SBOA newsletter or online. We will be there speaking and exhibiting. And then I think the very next show after that, there's a little bit of a break. And then we will be we'll have Illinois towards the end of the month. The Great Lakes show, that's in Chicago. That's a really good one. And what did I miss? Did we talk about the value and acquisitions course from SSA? That's coming up next week as well.
No, we did not.
Yep. So the value and acquisitions course, if you're looking to, get into the self-storage industry, that's a really good course for you. Even if you've been through the course, it's a really good course to retake because obviously all of the data changes. If you're going to talk about value and acquisitions, interest rates is a really critical piece. And obviously we've had some volatility with interest rates over, last several months, and it's still not coming down all too much, but it is coming down and will continue to creep down, but it's creeping down, I think, at a little bit slower pace than what maybe people had originally anticipated. So I think that's a good course to go to because, like I said, you can get the value of, the new rates and new stats and industry stats that they would be talking about, the value and acquisitions course. And then, of course, second group of students for Storage for Rookies starts next week. So if you are a newer owner-operator or a owner-operator that is looking to scale their business, this program is for you. It's all done by the SBOA and our partners. Enhanced members, if you're not an SBOA enhanced member, Iris can put in the chat how you can become one for just $10 a month. Actually, I think Iris is running a spring special right now where it's only $5 a month. If you pay for the entire year, you get 2 months free, so either $99 or $49. You get so many benefits for just a minimal amount. For that membership fee, you get 10% off of our products at the SBOA. You get access to content like this. You get half off of Storage for Rookies if that's a course that you want to take. You get access to our vendors, that some of them which were on the call with us today, like Storable. Their products and services and some of the pre-vetted deals that we've curated with them for our members. So it's a really good program for a real low cost. Highly encourage everyone to take a look at that program and please join. We've got some exciting things we're doing here at the SBOA to keep elevating our current processes and then some new things that we're looking at doing in the future. So I think that's it for my closing of what we've got going on. Trade shows, and then we'll have a little bit of a break over the summer. I hope everyone gets some vacationing in there, and then we'll kick right back up into trade show season starting the first week of September with the National SSA show that will be hosted out in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand. Last year at the MGM Grand, by the way, too. Next year we will be moving over to Aria for that event, which I'm super excited about. I know Iris is super excited about too. Plus, it's the association's 50th anniversary. That's a big anniversary. When I was in Columbus the other day, Tim Dietz, the president of the National SSA, was there. I got to have dinner with him, and he told me some inside secrets of some really cool things that they're going to do. Like, I cannot wait. I think it's going to be the biggest national conference that they've ever had. It's going to have record attendance once they announce some of the really fun networking elements that they're going to add into this one to really celebrate that 50th celebration. I mean, it's some really, really big stuff. I can't wait. More year. So,
well, and we will have another one of our infamous parties in Las Vegas in the fall.
Oh, yes.
Exclusive. So yeah, if you are not a member yet, April is the month to sign up. We are running a half off special until the end of the month. So
yeah, which is just next week. I can't believe April's already over at the end of next week, but it will be over next week. So make sure you guys get in there before how many days do we have in April? 30?
30.
Just kidding.
So you got until next Tuesday to get in there and get half off, and then you'll reap all the benefits of being an enhanced member for $4.99 a month. You just can't beat that.
You cannot beat that. We have a really nice platform. Iris has been hard at work on the back end, making that platform super sophisticated and seamless for you guys. We like it. We believe in it. And we're going to just keep mining this process as we go throughout the rest of this year. So thanks for joining us. Sorry I couldn't be here today, but I know you guys were in good hands with both Holly and Iris. And we will be back. When's our next Unlocked, Iris? It's in May, I believe.
2 weeks, I believe.
Yeah, May the 9th, I think, is the next one.
May 9th, you're correct. And that is how to optimize the workflow in your self-storage business. So if you're a member already, or you become a member before then, you won't have to pay to sign up. You'll just be automatically registered. And all you have to do is log into your member site and you can view all the webinars.
Yeah, and while you're in the member site, please make sure that you go over to that SBOA savings program page. If there's vendors that you're interested in talking to that we currently work with, you can get in touch with them right through those pages. Their offers that they offer to our members exclusively are on those pages, so make sure you check out those pages. And then if you've ever missed any of our past webinars that we've done in 2024, they will be on the member site as well. Anything outside of 2024, like 23, 22, 21, that's all still out on our YouTube page. Also coming soon to our YouTube page, we have some new vendor short videos where we've done some videos with our vendors to help them tell us about some of their new and upcoming products that they're going to be introducing to the industry, or just things that they're seeing within their own ecosystems that are happening that's relevant to the industry, or just general stuff that they see going on out in the industry that they want to talk about. So those little video clips will be coming out soon. They will reside on YouTube. And to get to those, they'll be in our newsletter with a link. So those will be coming out in the next couple of weeks. So definitely connect with us on social media. We're very active on social media, and that's how you learn about the things that we're doing, our products, our programs, our educational events, our networking events like Iris was talking about that we'll have at National SSA. The last one we just did was at an ice bar. It was super cool. You had to wear a long parka. You went in, all of your cocktails were in a rocks glass that was actually made out of ice. It was such a fun event. Everyone that came over enjoyed it. They were talking about it. So I'm excited to see what we do for the fall. I know our team over here is going to. Yeah, Iris
works event.
We're going to change Iris's title to like the master of all trades, and definitely like party planner extraordinaire. I think that should be your and creative director. She does all the things. So awesome. Well, thanks for filling in for me today, Iris. Again, thanks for everyone that attended, and we'll be back in 2 weeks with another one of our Self-Storage Unlocked episodes. So we'll see you all soon.
Thanks. Have fun.
Bye, everyone.